actually speaking. You mentioned one thing about, well, you mentioned about friendship and how like it's very, you know, like in anything you need due diligence. Even when you come to London, you need due diligence to go outside and make friendship and stuff like that. What I'm finding, as you know, even someone who's, you know, grown up here, is that as I get older, it's harder to make friends. And I speak to a lot of my friends about this, and they just talk about all the time about how, like, yes, they try, but they don't find the places to do it, you know, because they just feel like they know their friends, they knew from high school or uni or whatever, and they kind of stick to them. And maybe don't make friends with friends, they're friends, but like, it's really hard to find places and make friends. As someone who's had to do that multiple times, do you think it's hard to make genuine friendship and genuine friends when you move to a new place? And why do you think that is?
I mean, I'm just like remembering our conversation early this year. I think I was like, Jeff, like all my friends have left, like all my uni friends have left me, and I'm all alone in London now. Like, who are my friends? You know, yes, to your question, yes, it's so hard to make genuine friendships as you are an adult, because I feel like when you're younger, when you're at uni, you know, everything is about party, everything is about freedom, everything is about, I don't live with my parents anymore, I'm gonna do anything, and you know, everything is about hooking up. Like, sorry, excuse me for my language, but you know, everything's just about hooking up and the party and the club and the drugs and the alcohol and the whatever. So I just think it's so easy at that time to find like-minded people, because at that time everyone kind of wanted the same thing. But now that but then now that you are an adult with evolved preferences, with evolved wants, with evolved things that you want out of life, things that you want and expect from other people, I think it's quite hard to make genuine friendships for sure. But I think the way to go at it that I found is honestly the old school friend of a friend. You know, I'd hang out with you and then you'd introduce me to a friend. We've done that a couple of times. You know, I've met some of your friends. So have you met some of my friends too? And I think just that old school network of meeting people through people always helps, because then you have that common person that you know you are good friends with. Meeting people through work was also quite nice, and you have the privilege of working with some people and them being one of your really, really good friends as well, like you. But also I think, what I also think is that there's always also the apps, like there's that kind of Bumble BFF. But the thing with those things, or not just those things, but just making friends, even if it's with friends of friends, I also think it's about consistency. I think in an adult friendship, everyone is so busy with their own lives. They have so much happening in their 9-to-5 jobs. They want to stay fit. They want to work on their mental health. They have like so many of their own different priorities that making friends may not be everyone's priorities as well. So just making sure that if you meet someone, you need to be consistent. You need to make sure that it's also two-sided, if that makes sense. You know, it's like, I want to see you this weekend. I'll make the effort to see you next weekend, but will you make the effort to see me the following weekend? And that's kind of also how you need to filter. But one thing I've also wanted to also share is that at the end of the day, when you're an adult, it's about quality, right? What is the point of having 50 friends? Yeah, I say that, but I kind of, you know, still look at quantity. But I'm slowly trying to, you know, put myself in the perspective of, yes, it's harder to make friends as an adult, but even if you have two, so what? Even if they're in another country, so what? As long as there's a quality friend that you know will be there for you if you're like dying on the road somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you said something that was so interesting, which I want to actually touch on. You said it's about what you expect from them. I think that's the main difference between when we're kids, where we don't expect anything from our friends. We're just like, do you want to go play football? Yes, okay, cool, let's go do it. You're now my friend. Like, I remember in school, they would literally be like, you are now my friend, and now you're just friends, because you have nothing, no expectation. But as you get older, your boundaries start to increase, and the things that you expect from your friends and the level of commitment, or like the two-way side, like you talked about, that becomes way more important. The question I had for you is that, what are some of the things that you expect from your friends? What are some other ideas or like values that you look for in friends as you get older?
Like-mindedness for sure. I think that's very, very important. So nowadays, you know, just, I guess these days, I think I only have one ability, is like one requirement, which is the ability to go deep. Like that's all I look for in a friendship. You know, it's not even just going to be about, I went on this date with this friend and like with this guy, blah blah blah, and then just talking about all those like surface level, meaningless shit. You know, I need to be able to go deep. I need to be able to have conversations like the conversations we're having today, because that for me is the only requirement to have a meaningful, genuine friendship. That's probably the only expectation I have, because to expect anything more than that, or to expect anything from people in general, is quite hard, because everyone's selfish. Also, you live in London. Everyone's even more selfish. So yeah, just being able to be deep with the other person, and also knowing that, if you need help, like, the person will be there for you, but also knowing that the moment you don't see something working in your friendship, just having that courage to just cut the person off as well. It's about boundaries at the end of the day, like me and you both mentioned. Just making sure that if they're not meeting what you expect, it's okay to cut them off. We're not children anymore, where I'm like, I'm not your friend, and I'm also not your friend. I'm going to tell all my other friends to not be friends with you. Like, we're grown up. We're like way past that. You just need to go deep. That's it. Yeah.
I agree with that so much. And like, I'm like I'm like at the office trying to have deep conversations. Because it was like, can we just do our work, Jeff? And I'm like, no, I want to talk about real stuff, because I don't understand. I understand why people have these shallow conversations, because it's easy and it's comfortable. But I think we don't learn anything about people. You don't learn anything about people's perspective. I think the deeper you go, as long as you have the intellectual honesty to be like, I don't know what this person knows. I'm also an idiot. This person could teach me something new, what they're saying.
Actually, that brings me to a really good point, because I feel like some people look at friendships and think of it as a transaction. I think some people are like, oh, what can you bring for me? Oh, you work in that really fancy banking job. I want to be friends with you because I want to get into your banking job. So we just need to be able to get past that transaction. And if you really feel like someone's treating you as a transaction, just cut them off.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think for me, I've talked to you about this too. I'm learning this because I'm so like friendly. I'm like, everyone can be friends. Let's be friends with everyone. But I'm learning some people. Luckily, I'm learning at an early age. Some people just don't have that same kind of understanding about friends. They just want to have that kind of, oh yeah, we do things together, we're transactional. But I'm like, no, I want you to succeed in your life. I want you to tell me about stuff about yourself. I want to get deep, and I want consistency too. Like, if you're going to be deep with me today, be deep with me also with people around, like that consistency is also important to me. And I think that it's so, I think people do look for that. And I think when I have those moments of like self-reflection, I go like, okay, that's what I try to provide to people, like a mirror to themselves, to their soul. Like, actually, you can be yourself. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm also an idiot, but I'm also just like, I'm myself. And if I'm able to be myself and being who I am, then you should be able to too. And I think that's all that I expect from friends. Just like, be yourself, be original. Don't be like everyone else, but also like, be honest and be able to be deep. And I think that all of that ties into each other, which makes it pretty easy, And I think that it is weird, because I know that a lot of people do say that as they get older and older, they do find it hard to make friends, because like you said, everyone's kind of got their own thing going on. But I think people, I heard this thing which is really cool, and it's like, we don't make time, like, there isn't time for things, you make time for things. It's like people say, oh yeah, I don't have time for it. It's like, no, you make the time. Of course you don't have time for it, because you're not making the time for it. You have to make things priority as you get older. You make your health priority. You make your love life priority if you have to. But you don't make your friendship a priority. And I think it's so important to have, I think, a small group of very, very close friends. Rather than a big group of shadow friends, because big group of shadow friends don't lead you anywhere. You don't discover anything about yourself. But you have a small group of quality friends who are there to support you, there to push you, there to allow you to be honest with yourself, there to allow you to fall down and help you pick yourself up. These things are very, very important. I think especially in London, like, we have this kind of shallowness going on, which I don't really understand. But okay, moving on to that, I think kind of like what we talked about before, and I think one of the points that we talked about that I think is important, especially when you look for friends, but just in people, is self-awareness. I think it's so important to be self-aware of yourself. And I think the reason for that is that in this world of like, not just shallowness, but all just technological, whatever, we can like kind of look at everything, we can like project an image of ourselves so much that we start to believe in the image rather than to see ourselves as we are. Having a self-awareness is so important. So what do you think about that? What do you think about self-awareness as a skill in the modern age? Do you think people have it? Do you think you have it? And how do you look for that in people or even in yourself? How do you know if you're self-aware or not?
That's a very good question.